Hey everyone, Katie Bertrand here with So Cute by Katie, and today we're going to be making a fabric bin. So if you are new here, I just want to say welcome and thanks for joining me today. I'm doing a little collaboration with some other friends. So I've got a friend going on live right after me, my friend Cheryl of Creative Wreaths and Flowers, and I will post a link in the description to her video, so be sure to stay tuned for lots of crafty videos. We'll be linking each other's videos throughout the day today. So if you are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and let's get started. So today, for supplies that you need, we're going to use 2 yards of fabric. You may not use all of that. I'm using 2 different materials just to make it kind of reversible or a little fun, and plus I'm just digging into my stash because we are still quarantined and can't get to the fabric store, so I'm just kind of getting into my stash of supplies. The other thing you are going to need is a plate. It said they called for a 12-inch. My plate's a little bit larger than that. I think this is more of a dinner size plate. Like, I don't know, where's my tape measure, and I'll measure it exactly. This is probably, oh, no, mine is 12, so, or 11 actually. So, and then you need some interfacing. This is optional depending on how heavy your material is. Mine is not that heavy, so I am using some iron-on interfacing. If you use like a duck cloth or some twill material, it might be heavy enough that you do not need that. You'll need your sewing machine, and you will need a flexible tape measure. So to get started, I've already cut out 1/2 of it, so just to move us along. So I've got, we'll go ahead and cut out the other. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up our material to just 1 layer. And we're gonna lay our plate on it upside down. And we're going to use our marking pens. Now you can use disappearing ink markers. I've got this other pen that I really like. This is called a Frixion pen. That is spelled F-R-I-X-I-O-N. It looks just like a regular ballpoint pen, and it marks like a ballpoint pen. But the cool thing is when you iron over it, the ink will disappear. So it's great for craft projects. So I am just tracing around my plate. I'll set that aside, and then I'll go ahead and cut this out. And you can definitely make different size bins. You know, if you wanted to use maybe like a salad plate or something, just make little small ones to put smaller items in. Certainly do that. Just cut this off, trash that. Okay, now we need to measure around our plate. So this is where you get out your flexible tape measure. And I'm on my cutting table, so I'm just finding a number. I'm on 14 just so I know if this moves. And you want to take your tape measure and just measure around the circumference of the plate that you just cut the circle from. And just hold it against here. So when I get all the way around, I get 35. So I am going to add 1 inch to that, so that number for 36 inches. So now we need to cut out the sides of our bin, and it needs to be 36 inches long. Get this folded back up. If I can get it smoothed out here. All right. So my fabric is 45 on the fold, so I know I've got enough length this way. I'm going to cut it 14 inches, so it's 14 inches tall. I'll move this down on my cutting mat here. I'm on the 14, and we will cut this. Okay, so I've got it 14 inches tall, and now I need to, I've got the fold, and I'm going to cut it to 18. That will make 36, the number that I need. So your plate may measure a little differently, so just depending on what your length is. Always save your scraps. You can probably do something crafty with that or put it into a little scrappy quilt. Okay, so I have already cut my other fabric. Set this over here, get that out of our way. Okay, so now for the sides that you just cut, if your fabric is not very heavy, you want to interface it to give it some body to help it stand up, and you'll want to cover this entire piece. So just take your interfacing, just a light to medium, just depend on how firm you want it to be, but lay this out, you know, and you just want to cut it. It can be a little bit shorter, you know, you can piece it together if need be, if you're getting into your scraps. But then you want to cover this, and then you will follow the directions that come with it. It's very simple. You put the little bumpy side down of your interfacing, put the bumpy side to the wrong side of the material, and then with your iron just keep, you know, moving it and steaming it, and it will adhere to your fabric. So I've already gone ahead and done that on this piece. So the first thing we're going to do is fold this in half, and we're going to put right sides together, and we're going to sew the short seam together right here. Lining up our edges. And I'm just using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Make sure you do a little back stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead and do that with the other piece, because this will be our lining. Okay, so now on these pieces that we just sewed the side seams, we need to do some marking so that we can sew the round piece and match it up. So we've got our center seam that we just sewed, and then we've got the fold. So we want to take our marker. It might be a little easier to do with the marker type marking pen. And we're going to put a little mark right on that fold. And then we're going to just do a little tiny one right on the inside so we match that up. So you can see I just put a little mark right there. Then we're going to open this up, and we're going to take that mark we just made and match it up to the seam where we sewed. And then we've got the new side seam, and we're going to mark right here too. So we will have 3 marks, and then our seam that we sewed to guide us and match up for our circle. So now I'm doing it on both pieces. open this up. That mark is going to line up with the seam where we sewed, and we have new side seams here. Okay, so now that we have those marked, we will take the circle pieces that we cut, and we're going to fold these in half and do the same thing. Make those little marks right on the fold. Open it up and fold it to the other side, and then find our other center seams. Then we're making 4 marks. Actually, hold on. That one's not lining up. Let me fold that in half, so now we just get our 4 marks going. Okay, so if you open this up, you should have marks, 4 marks right there. So now what we want to do, we're going to take one of these marks and we will line it up and pin it to the seam. And line up our other mark right across from it. All right, I think my disappearing ink disappeared too fast. Let me mark that really fast. You gotta be careful with the disappearing ink. It does disappear, and it might disappear a little faster than you think. So I'm just matching up those little marks I made. I have to remark one, hold on. Okay, there's that. Might have to go back and remark mine. And I guess my disappearing ink works pretty good. Okay, so now I've got all my marks matched up, and I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine. Just use my little 1/2 inch seam allowance. giving it a little stretch on top to as I go around the circle. Just kind of smoothing it out as I go. Keep stretching the top circular part to kind of fit around. I'm almost to the seam. Okay. This will fit right in there like that. So now we want to do the same thing to the other piece, and before I get started, I'm going to use this other pen. Get my markings, make sure they're on there good. You still see some of them. Well, these are still good. I don't know what happened to my other ones. I guess maybe I didn't mark it as well, or didn't get it as dark as I needed it to be. Okay, same thing. We're going to take the circle part and match up the notches that we marked and put a little pin to hold them together. Okay, and then we'll take this over to the machine and do the same thing. I'm using just a little 1/2 inch seam allowance. Your edges are lined up and you are catching, you know, top and bottom, and probably need to stretch the circle a little bit to fit. Just take your time as you go around. I'm just kind of turning the fabric. Okay, so now we've made it all the way around. So I'm going to have this as my outer piece. So I'm going to let's turn this out, right side out for a second, just so we can kind of see what it looks like. So it's pretty cute. So now what we need to do is we still have our other piece wrong side out, and we're going to take this one and we're going to put it inside. We're putting right sides together, and I'm going to line up the seams. Get that in there correctly. So I've got one stuck inside the other, and as you can see, right sides of the fabric are together. And then I'm going to line up the seams right here where we sewed the sides. So we're going to line that up first. Now right next to that, I'm going to come over a few inches and I'm going to put one pin, and then I'm going to put another pin about, I don't know, ballpark 4 or 5 inches. This is going to be our opening, okay? We are not going to sew between these two pins. So we're going to sew from one pin all the way around, you know, to the side seam, and then to this pin. But we want to leave this open so that we can turn our bin here. And then I'm just going to stretch this out, just put a couple of pins. You don't need to put a ton. I really don't like using a lot of pins. Just one of those things. It kind of slows you down. When you need them, but you don't need as many as you probably think you do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start sewing. When I start, I'm going to do a little back stitching to lock that in. And then just make sure your edges stay lined up. I'm just kind of rotating the bin as I sew around. And as I get to my other pin where I'm stopping, just want to make sure you back stitch. Okay, so we've stitched all the way around. We have a little opening right here. This is where we're going to reach in and pull one out and turn it. Okay, so at this point I would do a little pressing just to smooth it out. And then to close this up, so we have this little opening right here, and it's folded down. You just want to do a little top stitching, and you can top stitch all the way around. You can just, if you don't want to see any seams, you can certainly hand stitch that, but hand stitching to me just takes too long, so I don't enjoy doing it. So I'm just going to top stitch this closed. And I'm going to go ahead and just stitch all the way around. And I'm just stitching right on the edge, just right on that very edge. I'm going to turn this and smooth it out. I would iron it before you do it. That just, one, closes up the opening but gives it a nice little finished look all the way around the edges. And then you can fold this down if you need to. And you have a cute little fabric bin. Let's see, what do I have to put in here? But you can store, you know, I've got my little craft things, you know, buttons and fabric and thread, you know, all kinds of little things in here. You can put yarn, you can make this a gift basket. Another cute thing this would be fun for is putting a flower pot in here, just to give the flower pot a, you know, new decorative look to it. So you can take this, you can make a tie, and then it becomes a cute little multi-use decorative bag and fabric bin. But that is how you put that together. So you can make it reversible. You can use the same fabrics if you want, if you don't want to fold this down. And of course, I love to personalize everything, so you could absolutely add a monogram, you know, down here, or if you folded it down and wanted to label it here, you could label what you put in here, where it says, you know, crafts, toys. You can just put your name if you just wanted to personalize it. So there's a lot of cute decorative ideas that you can do with your fabric bin. You can use it for multi-uses. You can make multiple sizes. This is a larger size, but if you wanted, like I said, you could use a salad plate and just make a smaller version. Would be super cute. Really fun for gift giving. You know, put some fun things in there. And Mother's Day is in a few days, so maybe you can make one for Mom and put some of her favorite items in here, whether it's cooking, you know, she likes to bake, or potted flower, craft items, beauty supplies, all kinds of fun stuff. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and stay tuned. Next, my friend Cheryl, she is with Creative Wreaths and Flowers. She's going to be going live at 1:30 Eastern time today. And I have a link to her page in the description, so be sure to check her out, and then she will be talking about the next person going after her. So we're just trying to provide some new craft creative ideas for you while we are still quarantined, and I hope you all have a great day and enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will be seeing you soon.